Hello, people of YouTube. I'm killing time as I wait for the person from DJI Support to call me, so I'm just cleaning up the place and waiting. Bear with me. I appreciate everybody who came to the chat the other day with Henrik on drones and electric unicycles. If you missed it, go check out his channel. There's the link to it right there. I think we made some progress and had some good points that DJI can do to make their customer support a more pleasant experience for you and I. Hope I got these the right level. Today, we're going to be talking to DJI Customer Support. They wanted to talk to me and take some of my suggestions as well as your suggestions for what we think might help them with all this frustration that we have when we use the basic DJI support. Before we get started with the call to DJI, I want to take a minute to just sort of brief those who are new here what's been going on. So after a month of back and forth with DJI to try and get a refund for the Mavic Air, I was contacted on February 26th by the main supervisor for the global complaint team for DJI. She reached out and wanted to call me to ask about my situation to see if there was anything that she could do to help or what might make the return process or exchange process or repair process a smoother ordeal for you and I. So tonight she is willing to talk to me on camera, so I will be setting up my phone on speaker and we're going to talk, and I'm going to share some of that phone call, and after this it will wrap up my experience with returning my Mavic Air. It was a pain in my butt to get my money back, not because they wanted to screw me. I don't think at all that they were trying to screw me. I just think there's a huge communication barrier, and not just because it's from China to America, but because their call center isn't in America and they don't know their products. And I think that is probably the largest issue most of us see with DJI support. Now, not all of us have had a problem with DJI customer support. Some of us have had no problem at all. Great for you if you're one of those people. This video is probably not for you. For the many, many millions of others who have tried dealing with support to only get a phone call where you can't understand the person, where the person on the other end of the phone has no clue what you're talking about, they're not familiar with the products, it's obvious they're reading off of a screen, this video is for you. So without any further delay, this is my conversation with the Global Supervisor for Complaints and Customer Support. I am very appreciative that they did call me and that it did get escalated to this point. Hopefully something does come of this. If you're watching this, DJI, please don't just let this go in one ear and out the other. Thank you, and here's the phone call. Hello?
Hi, Sean. This is Juliet.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, not bad. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, I was just watching the video. I was still at 1 hour,
Yes.
20 minutes to go. Yeah.
It's pretty long.
You guys were very detailed and provided a lot of good suggestions, I say. And
Thank you.
I took everything down.
Oh, wonderful. I've got the camera rolling if you're okay with that, and I have some really, just some basic thoughts and things that I put together from everyone who I've talked to over the last week or two, and I thought I'd just mention them to you. I can definitely email you these as well.
That would be great.
Again, I want to thank you very much for doing this. I think this is going to be helpful for people to see that you guys are reaching out to try to make some changes. I know you've been in the business for a while, and that our countries are a little different, so things are done a little differently, but you guys have a great product, and I think everyone's really happy to use your product, especially when they're working. So
yeah, I know. I really appreciate what what you have been collaborating with me, and it's honestly my job, and our job to make our customer service better and better, and that's what we are trying. Trust me. but I know it's a long process, and it's been taking a long time, and we're still working on it, but we're not giving up, trust me.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. I guess I could just start and tell you that the number one thing that I've had people tell me that's the problem is communication. People will call and they're not only having a difficult time understanding the person that answers the phone, but even on the chat support, they feel like the person isn't really educated on the products. So there's a barrier in that communication between the person and the other person they're reaching out to get that help. That seems to be the number one complaint that I've gotten from everybody.
Yeah, okay. I will mark like 5 stars on this one, so I can talk to the manager of our customer service and, just, I understand. I've talked to our agents, and I know their English is not that good sometimes, and, the technical part can definitely be improved. We need more training for them, and more QC, quality control over what they have been doing, basically just from all different kind of aspects.
When you released the Mavic Pro, your company was taken by surprise. I mean, that thing flew off the shelves like nothing. So I understand, even if you have a small percentage of returns, when you sell that many products, you're going to have a large amount of people sending things back for errors and things that need to be fixed. And that's something I think a lot of people do forget, that these other companies, they might seem like they have less returns, but they also are selling less product. And I think a lot of us get frustrated and forget that.
Thank you for this. And what else?
Regarding the communication, people have asked if you guys are planning to stop using a call center. And if not, could the call center be in the same country as the people are calling from? That way the accents aren't as strong. That might be a way to correct the communication. And if those call center people are going to be trained further in the product instead of just having to read off of a screen to try to find the answers. And if not, maybe suggesting if the call center could be open in the same country, maybe, for example, in America, where we have, I think it's in Cerritos for the repair center, maybe opening a call center near or next to the same center that the repair guys are in. That way, if there's something that's past their pay grade and they don't understand it, they can touch base real easily with someone who does. Would something like that be a possibility even?
For this one, it's a really huge project that you are talking about. Starting another call center in the same country that we sell products at, like America. We have customers technically all over the world.
Yeah.
And what you are talking about is really, really a huge project, and not to mention the cost behind that. And I think there is a better solution. I think it's just about trainings and higher standards for the agents that we hire, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to hire agents that, speak better English, and they have a better understanding. They have a better capability to communicate with our customers, and we need to provide more training so they are, more familiar with our products. The whole system should be improved. Like, for our agents, they don't just read off the screen and learn stuff from the manual. They need to get their hands on the products. And,
I agree. I think that would be great, and it's pretty obvious. Some of them might, but I've only talked to, I'd say, 20 or so different people in the last year, so I can't speak for everyone. So some of them might actually know the products better than others, but there's definitely a high percentage, based off of my own findings as well as the people I've spoken to over the last few weeks, that feel like the people there don't have any clue how the products actually work. So I think that would be something great. I don't know if that's more financially doable for you guys. I think that could possibly be a solution that would work.
I think there is definitely something to work this out, and that's not something that you are asking us to do. That's something that we should do.
Yeah.
So I will definitely forward this message to the management team, higher level, and ask possibly make an action plan so we can get this, going on.
Oh, that's great. I appreciate hearing that. This was the second biggest thing that most people had a complaint with. This was also one that you heard me talk to you before about this. This is definitely probably my biggest complaint. Whenever you buy a brand new product from you guys and it's broken, the return process is just atrocious. It's just horrible. If there's any way you guys could try to speed up that return process on a brand new product, especially if it's bought directly through DJI.com, because then you would have an account with DJI, you'd have your credit card on file. If you guys could mimic or try to push your return to be more like Amazon.com, where as soon as that package is scanned, they start shipping out your replacement. There's obviously a chance you guys take of someone sending a box of rocks that's the same weight as the product. You would probably have to have some kind of insurance policy set up. You'd be able to charge their card. I don't know exactly how Amazon pulls that off. Someone hopefully might know and they can let us know, or you guys can speak to Amazon. I'm not sure, but is that something you guys would even be considering to do? Look into that return policy in a way to speed it up possibly, instead of it taking 3-4 weeks.
I understand that, and this is actually another huge thing that you're talking about. I know. I've been to America a couple of times, and I worked there before, and I know how, Best Buy, Amazon, and all the other companies, they provide very great service and return policies for their products, and it's amazing. And I'm not sure if when we can be like them, like Apple, Amazon, but I think that's something that we can definitely work on.
It is incredibly frustrating to buy a brand new product for $800 to $1,300 or more and it not work, and then you have to turn around and
you have to wait for
three
so
to
long
4
get
weeks.
a worked one back.
Yeah, that's so long for that. I mean, we're so used to in America being able to typically just walk back into the store and say, this one's broken, give me another one, and they give you a brand new one. Or even with Amazon, like I said, you ship it out and they send you a brand new one. So your return process is usually somewhere between 3 to 5 days on Amazon.
Yeah, I totally understand. But the thing, I'd like to discuss it further with you because I think you might provide better suggestions to me. One of the problems that we have right now is, because we have a lot of customers right now, and not everyone is like you, because you know drones, you know how to fly, you know how they work, you know what's actually a problem. But for some customers, they don't know. They probably don't even know how to store the drone because they never used one before, and they have never read a manual before they get one, because it's a new thing.
Yes.
And they want to get into it, and it's fun. It's very amazing to have some aerial photography, some footage of their daily life or places they're traveling around. But the thing is, sometimes maybe they don't know how to use it, and they think it's a product problem. So at this time, if they want to return, and they have activated the drone, and which is different from a normal camera. It's not like you just unbox it; you actually activate it, which means that it's gonna influence how you are gonna resell the drone again, because the pricing will be so different, and the process will be different as well. And so this is one of the things that we haven't figured out, because we don't know, if the customer don't know how to use it, and we are trying to minimize the possibility of this kind of situation. And how do you think we should do that?
That's an interesting thing you bring up with the drone market the way it is. It's blown up. I mean, it's a huge industry now compared to what it was even 2 years ago. 3 years ago especially. It was nothing like this 3 years ago. I have a friend who just got one of your DJI Sparks. He's never even driven a remote control car, so he doesn't even understand when you turn the thing around, your sticks actually go in different directions because now you're reversed. So I understand what you're saying, but if you buy a brand new camera, say you get a Canon or something like that, and you unbox it and you use it, they have to then sell it as an open box product. Companies like Fry's, I don't know if you're familiar with Fry's, it's a very big electronics store. You guys probably sell your products there, I would assume. They have open box products they sell. If someone buys a MacBook, they don't return it back to Apple. They go through it, check it, make sure that it actually works. So if it's a customer issue and it's not actually an issue with the product, then they put it back on the shelf as an open box, so it's slightly less. I'm not sure if the price difference is the same as a refurbished. It's similar to that kind of concept though.
Open box products?
For example, you get a Mavic Pro, somebody who bought it has no clue what they did with it. They thought it was a broken product, but they sent it back to you and it was actually 100% functional. You could then have a section on your website to sell those. I think you would actually be surprised that a lot of people would buy those, and they aren't that different in price. I actually bought one. I bought an iMac once. I think it was actually at Fry's, and it was only $100 cheaper. So I saved like $100, but they had a return policy so that if you get home and there was a problem with it, you could still bring it back and return it. So that's something I could see you guys doing. And honestly, I think if you had a section on your website with refurbished products or open box products, you would sell tons of them, because there are tons of people that want to save $50 or save $100.
Yeah, we do have refurbished products available on our website, and open box products as well. And it's something we are doing right now, and maybe we should just make it like a more common thing. A lot of people don't know that, right?
No, I had no idea you guys sold refurbished. The only time I knew you could get a refurbished product from you guys was a year ago when I was speaking to, I can't remember his name, I think his name was Greg, in the Carson Center. He did offer me a refurbished Osmo at the time. That was the first I knew you guys sold refurbished or open box products. I had no clue up until then. Maybe that could be something that would boost your sales if you guys pushed that a little bit more. I think you'd be quite surprised at how many people were open to considering or to getting those. And that might help you with the returns. So like if you are spending a little bit more money on returns to get them back to people a little faster, then at the same time spend a little more money to push the refurbished, but you're making that money back and then some.
Yeah, I think we are not advertising this kind of thing as much as the new ones, because obviously a lot of customers don't know that we have that right now. I think we might have a mutual understanding on this thing, and I will talk to my colleagues about it and see what do they think about it, and what can we do.
You're sitting on a bunch of product that people are sending back. You might as well put a little finances into it and push that to some degree, because then at least it's paying for itself. You're getting your cost back to make the product and then some.
I understand. I am a customer to a lot of products as well. I totally understand how do they feel when they get something that's not working, or they are having a lot of trouble talking to customer service to get something to work. I mean, it's annoying.
The big catch is you have to see how the insurance works. If somebody does send you a box of rocks, that's a problem. If a lot of people are doing it, that's a bigger problem. I think you'd be surprised at how many people actually send back the product. They know their credit card is in your possession and you can charge them. And that's fraud. If they send you back rocks, that's fraud. So I know that you said to me before that that's new to you guys, that you guys in China have trust issues with sending the product out like that. I think that's something you guys should at least look into. That would change your customer support like crazy. People, if they had a problem and it was sent back and in the same week they got a new one as a replacement, wow, that would go over so well.
Yeah, you're right. We just need to take more legal actions against things that's not going right. Yeah, trust. It's a mutual thing.
If somebody does that, you're going to have to charge them, or have you guys have teams of lawyers, I'm sure, that could go after them. Whatever it takes to make sure people realize, hey, if you screw us over in this return, we're going to get you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
I have a couple other suggestions that people wanted that are a little different. They're not quite customer support. Well, one of them is. So let me go over this one real quick. It's to do with the care refresh policies that you guys have.
Cover flyaway and stolen aircraft. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So basically, you get, I think is it 2 of them that you can use per year? In a year your policy expires. A lot of people seem to be getting refurbished in the Care Refresh. People assume that they're getting a brand new drone every time, and from what I've gathered, that's not the case. Sometimes you do, and sometimes you get one that's just been repaired or should have been repaired to work, and then other times you send yours back and you get yours back that's actually been repaired. But the wording in it makes the majority of users seem to think that they're getting a brand new product back. If you guys could reword that to state that you may or may not get a refurbished product, and if you do, it will be up to the same standards of the one that you sent in, something that just makes it a little more clear that that's how it actually is, then no one's going to get mad. There's no way for anybody to get mad that they didn't get a brand new one, because it clearly states you might not.
I think what we said on our DJI website right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. It's a brand new or equally. Hang on. Let me find the wording on our website right now.
Okay, and if that's already on there, then that's on the customer. They're not reading it correctly, myself included. That could be just on the customer needing to read that more clearly, and I'll make sure that in my video I mention that's how it's already being done.
Yeah. Okay. The first question we put on our website about DJI Care Refresh is that what is DJI Care Refresh? So there is something that what you mentioned just now. About DJI Refresh, each time you request a replacement, you'll receive a replacement unit that is new or equivalent to new in performance and reliability. That's what we are talking about.
That's already on there then. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
just other people making mistakes and not understanding that. So that has nothing to do with you guys. And so I had a couple other small things, but they weren't really customer support suggestions, but I promised I'd mention them to these people. So I'm gonna just tell you real quick and see what you think. One person was asking me if the Mavic Pro will eventually get Go4 updates to include the features that we now find on the Mavic Air, like the boomerang and asteroid and things like that. If you could even mention that, I don't know.
You are saying that we can release some information before, like before a new product is to be released.
The Mavic Air comes with those auto modes. It has asteroid mode and it has the boomerang mode, which are not on the Mavic Pro, even though you're using the same Go4 app. Is that something you guys see yourself adding to the Mavic Pro?
Oh, that I'm not sure. I need to confirm with our R&D department, because that's something for them. Their plan for different products. They might put some features on some new products. It's like iPhone. Yeah, some features are on some certain models, but it's not available on some other models.
Yeah, that's what I figured. There was a group of people who hit me up. They don't like to use customer support. If they have a problem with their drone, they like to fix it themselves. They fly FPV racers and things like that as well. They were really curious if DJI would consider doing official parts for sale on the DJI website. For example, if a motor goes out, they could just buy a motor directly from you. Or if they need a new IMU board, they could actually go on and do that. I know Horizon Hobbies did that with their Blade Chroma. They had every part available. You could build one from scratch. It would cost you a whole lot more money to do it that way because they would sell the parts for a higher price point. But it was possible to replace bits and pieces, and there's definitely a community out there that would be very interested if you guys would consider doing that.
Here's the thing: if one customer repairs the product by himself, it already violates the warranty policies, and they cannot enjoy further warranty services in DJI. They have to pay if they, have other problems. Because it's the thing is, not everybody is professional, and a lot of customers might not know what exactly the problem is, and they mess it up. And then by the time they send it back, it's gonna cost more, or it's more complicated to get it fixed. So it's just complicated. I mean, I don't know how many customers are gonna agree if we put that on the website. Like, okay, so this part is available. It is. But if you are going to repair this by yourself, you are not gonna enjoy further service. Do you think it's gonna, cause further complaints? I think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. I've been in the remote control hobby since I was little. I've done RC cars, planes. The only one I hadn't done is helicopters. And there's a huge portion of people that get into it by these ready to runs. And basically a Mavic Pro or a Phantom 4 or any of your products are what we consider RTRs, ready to run products. You buy them and you can fly them. And then there's the people that will buy a product like an RC car that comes completely disassembled, and you have to buy your own servos, you have to buy your own engines, you have to piece together your own parts to make it. Those are the people that I think would love to be able to work and tinker on their own products. You might have a few people try that really don't know what they're doing, but I think the majority of people who buy those products, as long as you have a disclaimer that it voids all warranty if you use and replace your own products, I think the group of people that would like to do that wouldn't have a problem with it. I think they would love it.
Okay, I understand. I take that down as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, let's think about it.
It couldn't hurt.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I took that down.
Yeah, that's all I have on my list. That's it.
Definitely, I'm gonna talk to different departments and try my best to push, because it's a big company. We have a lot of other things to take into consideration. I hope you understand. Yeah. So we do appreciate all your suggestions, and it's just amazing.
I appreciate you guys reaching out in this way. This is the first I've heard of you guys doing this. Hopefully what I said makes sense. During the whole thing, I was never trying to be angry with any of the people, as I was a little frustrated. As you can see, I'm a pretty down-to-earth guy.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, everything. I've seen a lot of videos after, last time we talked on the phone, and your hometown, the place that you live at right now, it's amazing. And how can you wear a t-shirt when it's snowing out there?
That's funny you say that. The guy who had me on his channel on drones and electric unicycles, he asked me that same question. And it's very funny because I come from Texas and it's so hot there. I thought I was going to move here and freeze. Today it was 45 degrees out and snow on the ground everywhere, and I could have worn shorts today. It was so warm outside.
Oh.
You'd think it'd be cold at 45 degrees, but it's just not. If the sun is out, it is so warm out. Anywhere above 35 to 40 with the sun out is actually very nice.
Yeah. I just can't imagine me wearing a t-shirt when it's snowing. I can't do that.
It's so bizarre. It's so hard to even put into words on how the weather feels here. I mean, it's very much a postcard town.
Okay.
I did get my refund back. I checked the DJI credits, and I think it was about a day or so later that my bank refunded the rest of the money.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I really appreciate everything that you have done.
We're all people, and we're all just trying to make a living. I don't think anybody's out to get anybody. You guys are putting together an amazing product. You have some trouble with customer support, and if you're seriously serious about reaching out to try to do some of these things, then your customer base is going to be incredibly happy.
Yeah, I know. No, we are trying. I hope we can, see some progress, very soon.
And one more thing, I happened to go down into Denver, and in Denver there is a DJI store. You have DJI stores in Hong Kong, I think, and Denmark, and some other places. But I didn't realize this till today, that the DJI store is not how the Apple store works. They're not a corporate location. They're individually owned by different people. Unlike Apple, if you buy an Apple product pretty much anywhere, you can go to an Apple store with your iPhone that you bought at Best Buy, and they will help you fix it. They'll return it, they'll take it in, they'll send it back to Apple, whatever needs to be done. With the DJI store, and I did try this with my Air when it wasn't working, I was going to go down to see if they would just swap it out, and since they are not a corporate store, they can't get something that we bought offline and send it to you guys and take care of it. Now, I don't know what's the process to make the next stores that open become a corporate store like they are in China, but if you guys can figure that out, that would be amazing.
Yeah, but that's actually something we are doing right now, and the thing is, a lot of stores cannot repair your drones like how a lot of places who sell Apple iPhones to fix your phones. Is because the drone industry actually is very new. It's not like phones. there like forever. And it's a new industry. A lot of people are not qualified to repair those stuff.
No, but that's why if you guys had an actual corporate store, you have technicians there, and even if you didn't have technicians and they just took it back and then said, okay, now here's a new one, and then we'll deal with returning this back to the main company in China. That eases the return process once again. If not, they bring one in and maybe it's not broken. They look at it and they say, oh, this is what you're doing wrong. Here's a fix.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know what that entails to make new stores opening corporate, but basically they sell just DJI products. In that regard, they're able to use the DJI logo, so they're not owned by DJI at all. That's what I learned today.
Yeah, I know. I understand. I took that down as well, and I'll see what I can do about it.
Besides that, I just appreciate you calling. It was actually a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, me too. It's very great to get so many amazing suggestions from our, loyal and amazing customers, and all those suggestions are taken down. I have very detailed notes for the call, and I will write very detailed information to the higher level management team, and hopefully I will get a feedback, about the action plans that we will take in the future. And make sure you keep in touch with me if you have any other questions.
Okay.
I'll try my best to help you out, right? Okay.
I definitely appreciate that. Let me know if there's updates, and I'll definitely share them with everybody on my YouTube channel for sure. If somehow my headache ends up helping somebody else to have a better customer support experience, it's all worth it.
I know what you're doing, and we really appreciate it. And I hope we can work together furthermore, and just keep in touch, okay? Okay.
Before you go, I have to ask, and you're probably going to tell me you can't say anything, is the Mavic Pro 2 real?
Honestly, I have never heard anything about Mavic Pro 2 right now, because even for us, the information is confidential.
Okay.
Like right before the product is released.
Gotcha. So
I am being 100% honest with you. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. So if it is real, you don't know. Yeah. I get it. I understand that happens with a lot of products. So they don't announce it to only certain people in the companies until it's actually pushed out there.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. You have a great day.
You have a great night. Very nice talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. I'd say that went pretty well. If anything comes of this, we shall see. I hope I made everybody's points. I hope I covered everything and I didn't forget anything. If I hear anything back, if they reach out to me, if they tell me anything that they might just be doing some of this, their company is going to go over the top. Because if DJI can get their customer service to be even half as good as their products are, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, which they already are a force to be reckoned with. But Autel is coming out with something that looks pretty cool, and the instructions have been leaked, so it looks pretty legit, and it might not be that much longer before we see that product as well. I want to thank everyone who's been following this entire journey and story of mine with my Mavic Air. If you are not familiar with this whole thing, it all started right there with a customer support call that just didn't go very well. So hopefully to all of you, this will make a difference in some way, shape, or form. DJI has a great product when they're working. These videos are not meant to turn you away from their products. If you're looking for a drone, they are definitely one to be considered. The Mavic Air, the camera on that thing is killer. Mavic Pro, it's a great drone. The Spark, it's a great little beginner drone. I'm actually thinking of getting one for my girlfriend. For those a little more serious, the Phantom 4 Pro, whoa, camera on that is killer, and that is what we're all hoping the Mavic Pro 2, if it's real, has on it. I think I'm gonna leave this right here. I'm gonna say goodbye, subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching. Click the little bell icon right over there, and I'll see you next time.